everyone, it's Messy Stitcher Vicky here. I'm sorry if the angle's a bit weird. I've got the laptop balanced on a pillow and it isn't quite working, so sorry about that. I've got quite an exciting few updates for you today. There's quite a lot to kind of talk about. First of all, I just wanted to say a really big thank you to everybody that has viewed my videos over the last couple of weeks. I've noticed my views have gone up again, which is really lovely. I've noticed a couple of people have followed me on Etsy, so thank you. I'm sorry there's not loads of activity on my Etsy. I don't do kind of loads and loads of updates on it all the time, but I do occasionally update my wish list, which I kind of put a few more things on recently, so hopefully you'll occasionally get an update on there. I've still not completely figured out how to use, I'm not completely computer literate, I'm actually fine, but there's a few, it's more a case of can't be bothered to learn than inability to learn, but there are some things like kind of Etsy and eBay and stuff that I just don't really get into the detail of how to do stuff properly. So there's probably much more exciting ways I could be using that website, but at the moment I just basically use it as a wish list, but that works for me. So you're joining me on May the 7th, which in the UK today is a really important day because it's our general election. There hasn't been a general election in 5 years. It's considered to be one of the kind of closest elections that there's been since something like 1979, because the likelihood of a coalition government is so likely that things could go either way, and it's really uncertain, so it's really exciting. They've got TV coverage all night as the votes come in, and I could stay up all night, but I've got work tomorrow, so instead my compromise is I'm going to stay up till kind of midnight, 12:30, and then go to sleep because I've got to be up at 5:30 in the morning. But it's really, really exciting. I'm back in the Green Party. I won't bore you with all my political opinions and stuff, although I have many, but I'm back in the Green Party this time, which is a change of vote for me. And I'll be really interested to see how they do in this election. They're not very likely to win anything major. They're always a very small minority of voters vote Green, but I'd love for them to at least win a few more seats, so we'll see. So there's that. Just before we get on to the actual kind of cross-stitch stuff, just in case if you were interested, house stuff has moved on yet again. Since last time I updated you about that, we've put an offer in on a completely different house, a lot less of a headache than the one that we were dealing with and the person we were dealing with to sell the house. It's taken a lot of stress away. There's still stress involved in any kind of house sale, but I think everything that we went through with the last sale is very unlikely to happen again for lots of different reasons. So now it should all be kind of fairly smooth process, or smoother than it has been, which is fine by us. So I'm kind of talking from a much kind of happier, much more relaxed kind of state at the moment than I have been over the last few weeks and months. And I've really got into my cross stitch. I say got into my cross stitch, but I've been very much into kind of stitching and doing stuff over the last week or so. I think because I've relaxed a little actually, and I can focus on it a bit more. So I'm really excited to kind of share a few things with you today. Got my usual list for me to refer to. So first of all, let me update you with where I am with Beauty and the Beast. I always feel like I'm not really showing you much progress. Usually when I watch other people's YouTube whip updates, even within a week they've done something like a page of a Heaven and Earth design or something, and if that's your precedent, this is going to be very, very underwhelming. But as I always do, I'm just going to remind anybody that hasn't seen my other videos of what I'm stitching. It's the Disney Dreams Beauty and Beast Falling in Love. It's quite a popular design at the moment on YouTube, a lot of people doing it. And this is where I am now. To me, it actually does seem like a little bit of progress, but to people watching, it probably doesn't seem amazing. So I'm working on the top left-hand part of the design, and that's what I've done now. And comparing it to what I did last time, the main difference is all of the kind of dark purple bits and that kind of greeny bit underneath. It sort of feels it feels more progress this time, even though it's probably not any more hours stitching than I'd done before. I think what it is that there was lots of gaps and kind of little confetti stitches left. Oh, sorry, somebody stepped me. Sorry. And it kind of let left it looking a bit sparse, whereas now I feel I kind of made quite an effort to fill everything in, so everything is kind of solid and looking a bit more. And what I really love, I guess it goes without saying, and it might be stating the obvious, but what I really love about these Disney Dreams designs, and obviously things like Heaven and Earth when I actually get around to doing mine, is that it's kind of solid stitching. I like the idea that you won't see the Ada by the end of it. I really, really like that. I like the idea of this whole kind of texture in the background being completely made up of thread. And yeah, I mean, as usual, very messy, very creased. I'm sure one day I'll eventually get sick of stitching like this and everything being such a mess, and I'll try and be a bit more methodical. But for now, what works for me and the storage that I have is just shoving it in a plastic wallet and worrying about all the ironing and everything later. But I'm pleased with how it's coming along. To me, that's kind of progress. So looking back at the picture of the main design, I mean, I guess I'd like to think I'd maybe done like, I don't know, if I think 10% might be a bit of an overstatement. Maybe something like just under 10% of the design. I don't know, it's hard. I mean, some people are actually very good at, I know some people actually calculate how far they've got with their cross stitch, and I kind of would like to, but I just don't have that kind of mind. Like, I can't work out stuff like that. I'm terrible at maths. So I don't bother really, but it would be interesting to know what percentage, because I guess you have to bear in mind things like back stitching and everything else. So yeah, it's going okay. It's not as quick as I'd like to, but I've kind of booked a very long sort of 4 or 5 day weekend around a bank holiday in the next couple of weeks. So I'm deliberately not booking anything in. So I'm hoping to get a good kind of 3 or 4 days solid of just sitting down and stitching. I also have thought about always writing down how many hours I do of stitching, but to be honest, you know, because I would like by the end of it to be able to say that I know roughly how many hours I put in, but it's quite hard because it's very stop-start. You know how it is, you're kind of watching TV, you put something down, it's actually quite hard to quantify that anyway. So I think, you know, I'll just leave it, and it also, I think it starts feeling a bit too much of a chore if I start thinking about it like that. But yeah, I would be curious, because I think I massively underestimate how many hours I do on my stitching, because I don't record it. When I then look at what I've done at the end, I make an assumption based on what it looks like and what I've read in magazines about hours of time, and then when I actually think about it, I think, no, I've probably done far more hours than that, and I'm probably not doing myself justice. But progress is always quite slow, and I think I said it in one of my first videos that I think I'm a slow stitcher. I don't know if I am. I mean, people that don't cross stitch tell me it looks like I'm doing it fast, but when I compare myself to other people, it does seem like it takes me a really long time to make any real progress. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and I'm not worried. I don't compare myself in a bad way, but just out of interest, I notice that I do tend to take a bit longer to get. But you know, people have different. I mean, my main stitching time, as I say, is kind of after work, which at the most will be like half an hour, and then on the weekends. I had a bit of a frustrating weekend this week. It was a bank holiday weekend, and it was 3 days, and I honestly thought, I knew I was out Friday night, and I knew I was out Saturday, but I genuinely thought Sunday and Monday I'd probably be able to kind of put aside and do loads and loads. As it happened, Sunday I think I did about 4 hours, I think, which was mostly because we played Monopoly with my boyfriend's mum, and then I lost fairly quickly, so I just sat and stitched while they were finishing the game. But all these things came up, like always happens at weekends, and before I knew it, it was kind of like, oh, okay, it's all gone past. So I don't know whether that's avoidable or not, but I'm going to really try the next few weekends to really be almost quite strict I know it's a hobby and it's supposed to be fun, but actually quite strict for myself, for my own good, in allowing myself that time to stitch, because I think it can very easily work out that I just think, oh, I'll just do this first. And I think what it is I have to be quite relaxed when I cross stitch. I have to be in the right frame of mind. I have to have quite good concentration. I have to have quite good eyesight. And I'm very short-sighted actually, so I either wear glasses or contact lenses, and sometimes my contact lenses have really dried out by the end of the day, and my eyes are so sore and so tired, it actually stops me being able to focus on the colours, and I make loads of mistakes and I'm just unpicking everything. So it's really important for me to be, you know, like in the right mindset to do it. Unfortunately, I'd love to be one of those people that can do it in any situation, but I actually do have to be quite relaxed. So I guess that's that really. I did do some on the train, and I was really pleased because I got up. I was sort of feeling very slightly embarrassed that I was cross stitching on the train, and then I got up and realised that the people in front of me were knitting, so I didn't feel quite as. I don't know why. I mean, I don't really get embarrassed about stuff like that, and I get out on the train, but I do wonder if people think, oh God, what is she doing? It still seems quite. Sometimes it still feels quite an old-fashioned thing to be a crafter, not in a bad way, in a good way to me, but I always think that other people probably think of it like that, but actually it's really gained momentum over the last 5 years or so. It's really become cool again, kind of thing. So more and more I'm finding I'm in situations where I can actually kind of talk to somebody or just click with somebody on the train because they're doing it as well. So I've had some interesting conversations when people have just noticed what I'm doing or noticed a magazine I'm reading and have just kind of commented on it. So that's been really nice. So I think I'm rambling, sorry. One thing to show you, just I had a Christmas present. Yes, it is the 7th of May, but I had a Christmas present over the weekend, and it was from my aunt, and it was because she left it at my stepmum's, and I haven't been able to get over to my stepmum's for ages because I've just been really, really busy. So it's been sitting there, and to be honest, she normally sort of gets us a voucher, but it was really nice this year. She got us all something quite individual to us. She got my brother a pestle and mortar because he loves cooking, and this is what she got me from Hobbycraft, which is, now I've heard a lot of people talk about Joann's or Michael's in America, and they always sound amazing. I'm guessing Hobbycraft is our, or Hobby Lobby, Hobbycraft is our equivalent. Hobbycraft is like the chain craft retail store. And she's got me this lovely sewing box. I've got a couple of, well, I've got 3 of these now actually. There you go. So you've got the pin cushion and the pocket. And it's got the kind of plastic insert, which I find quite helpful actually. And then obviously it's got room to hold a project. I'm not like hugely into these kind of sewing boxes. I like the kind of wooden. I've seen these really kind of nice but expensive wooden ones. But they do the job. And one thing I've really noticed is just storage. I mean, I know that other people on YouTube do a lot more organised versions of kind of organising their stuff than me. And I know that really you don't need to have loads of room to be organised and a bit neater with stuff, but it's just not how I work. But at the least what I do like is a kind of, what I've noticed is I like to have one kind of place to put something per project. I like each project to have its own little home, and some projects are bigger than others. So this is a slightly longer version of kind of a smaller square type sewing box that I've got already, and this will be good for I might even transfer Beauty and the Beast to this because it might be very slightly neater. I can't remember if I showed you last time, but this is what it's so messy. This is what I'm keeping my Beauty and the Beast in. It's just a ATP wallet from Wilkinson's. It's already nearly broken, but it's just something to kind of keep it apart from everything. What I have noticed about storage lately is that because I don't specifically, like some I'm not really a cross stitch collector as such, in terms of I don't go out of my way to get things individually independent of a project, if that makes sense. So I don't really go and buy fabric or go and buy threads that I don't know what I'm going to use for. But because of my last couple of projects have been bigger ones, and you know, I'm actually building up quite a collection of DMC colours, and I'm actually thinking about having a look at which ones I've got. And as I'll show you in my new project, which I'm about to show you, I've got a lot of DMC colours. So obviously looking into the future when hopefully I finish it, I'll have a lot left over. And whereas I've been quite haphazard before and I've just put all odds and ends into one big plastic bag, I probably should try and keep track of what DMC colour they are, just in case it comes in handy. I think my thinking before was, okay, well, you know, I don't necessarily need to have the exact colours. I can have a look at my stash, see what I've got and use it. But in situations where there's a chart and there's very small variations between different shades, it would be quite good to know what I've got. So I'm going to try and organise myself this weekend to kind of get some kind of order, particularly for the project I'm about to start, because I think it's going to need it. Also, these, does anybody use these? These are usually brilliant. They're called snips. I don't know if, I haven't really seen other cross stitchers say much about them on YouTube. They're not expensive, they're about £2.50. They seem to sell them in all the UK craft shows, and they are really good, and normally they're a lot sharper than scissors, and they seem to cut it kind of a bit neater than scissors. Sorry, they cut it a bit neater than scissors, so a lot of cross stitchers use these because it's hard to explain, but normally when you cut things with, even with sewing scissors, I find that it doesn't quite cut them even with each other. But these have, very sadly, these are one of my only tools that I insist on having, and very sadly they've got very, very blunt and a bit warped. I've had them for about 1.5 years now, so it's time to buy some new ones, I think. So I'm having to use any old scissors I can find lying around, because I actually have 2 or 3 pairs of cross stitch scissors, but for various reasons, either they've been loaned out or they're just packed away with things I thought that would be in a new house by now. I haven't got them. So it means I'm getting quite frustrated with kind of, especially when I'm using actually the pearl filament in my Beauty and the Beast design, it's really causing problems because all the strands are coming undone because it's not very sharp. So I need to, it's a simple thing, but it's something I need to kind of sort out really. Okay, I have a finish to show you. Now I remember saying about my Lizzie Kate design, and I didn't show you it. I'd actually finished it. Actually now I'm really confusing myself. I can't check at this precise moment, and I have a feeling I did actually show you it when it was finished, but it was all quite scrunched up. But I finished the Lizzie Kate design that I was working on called Promise Me, which was one with a Winnie the Pooh quote, and I know that I didn't show you it in a frame. So I gave it to my sister for her birthday, and I didn't have time on the day to make this video before I gave it to her. So I'm going to have to show you a photo, which isn't a great photo, but hopefully you'll get the idea. There you go. So that was it. I had a slight frustration because it was a long, like a long narrow design. I basically couldn't find, I can never find a frame for this shape of projects, because I could have gone online and I could have been a bit more organised and got one, but there doesn't, a lot of the kind of standard designs just don't seem to, they just don't seem to cater for that kind of size very well. There's very limited options. So what ended up happening, which you can't really see from the photo, was that there was quite a gap either side on the frame. I didn't have time to sort anything else out. And I thought, oh, this is going to look terrible. But my boyfriend helped me put some brown paper either side, and I thought it was going to look awful. I thought it was going to look really, really like, oh my God, you know, that looks really like messy. But actually it looked really nice. It looked really smooth. It complemented the colour of the Ada. So there you have it. It says, promise me you'll always remember you're braver than you believe and stronger than you seem and smarter than you think. It was a Lizzie Kate design. I don't think it cost me very much overall. I'd say absolute total cost was something like £12 for the whole thing. Or maybe £15 because of the frame. It was on this oatmeal kind of Ada, which I believe was 14 or 16 count. I think it was 16 actually. Overall review, I think it's tricky with Lizzie Kate. As I said before, I like the designs. I really like the way it looks, but I don't know. I think there's a couple of things about the charts and the discrepancy between what they say you need colour-wise and then what you actually see, the photo at the kind of front of the leaflet. It just seems misleading to me. And I also think it's a bit irritating that none of them seem to really come as kits. I think somebody might have commented that they do come as kits on one website, and I think I maybe found 2 or 3, but I've looked and looked and looked, and most of the time they are, you know, you have to kind of faff around getting all this stuff, and considering they're quite simple designs, really, they kind of lend themselves better to be a kit, really, but for some reason that just doesn't happen, so never mind. And the other thing I wanted to show you, so when I made my first video, I think I was already in a position where it was going to be really difficult for me to show you my Heaven and Earth start. I call it a start. I've done about 4 hours worth of stitching on it, which doesn't look like I've done anything, and it's tucked away and packed away in my, I think it's a Necessaire frame, I don't know how to say that, frame. It's something that's not very portable, and it's something that out of all the things I've bought, I did decide needed to be kept on a frame. So it's packed away because we thought we were moving, and it's so much hassle to try and get it out now that I've just committed myself to knowing that I'm not going to be able to work on that until we're in a new house. But I don't think, I might be wrong again, probably am, but I don't think I ever showed you the actual photo, which is a bit strange because at the time I remember thinking, oh, I don't know how to insert photos into videos, but I actually didn't think I could just show you on my phone. So it doesn't really do justice in terms of the actual cross stitch itself, but if I show you the picture of what it is that I'm stitching, it's called Scallop Pond, and it's by Benta Schlick, who I'm guessing is a German artist, and it's honestly one of my favourite. I think it sounds like I'm stating the obvious, but I think it's so important to, if you're going to invest in a really big piece, which is going to take hours of monotonous sewing of the same colour over and over again, you've really got to love it, and I really genuinely do. It's one of my favourite pictures ever. I don't know much about the artist, I don't know how famous he is or how, you know, but I just think it's amazing. So this is my Heaven and Earth design, and it's called Scallop Pond, and I really wish that I didn't have this annoying glare and reflection of everything, but I hope you can see. So it's kind of a greeny background. The lighting isn't doing it a lot of justice either. I'm moving it around so you can hopefully see the shading better. But yes, it's a mermaid, and this is what I will eventually be doing, and it's really big. It's bigger than I can show on webcam, but it's a shame because I'm a member of the Heaven and Earth Facebook group, and I dip in and out of it, but usually I used to kind of do a bit of a daily check and have a look, and I hadn't looked for ages, so I had a real binge look on the way to work this morning, and I still hadn't scrolled through all the stuff that I'd missed. And it really gave me, the thing with the Heaven and Earth designs is, even in the short amount of that I'd done on it, you do get to a point where it feels a bit laborious and you think, oh, you know, I don't know how people manage to do this, but just going on that Facebook group really gives you the bug again. And it's just, you know, it just makes you really, really want to pick it up. So it's annoying and frustrating me that I don't have it, but then I can also remember that I've finished projects because I've put it to one side, and Beauty and the Beast is quite a big project anyway to be working on. So I will, as soon as I'm able, probably in a couple of months, I will show you what I've done on it so far, but you wouldn't really be able to see very much. I've just done like the top corner of the design, and I've been not doing parking. Parking isn't something I've really spoken about before. I'm probably misunderstanding it a little bit, but I've looked on YouTube and I've researched it a fair bit, and I get why people do it, but to me, I can't help thinking it seems an awful lot of faffing around. Just for me, that's not a judgment on anybody else that does it, because it clearly works for people, because when I see people that have done parking, I just look at it and think, wow, you've done loads. So for some, I think I can't get my head around why it makes things quicker, but it obviously does for some people, but maybe it depends on your sewing style and how you know that you work. It's really long-winded to explain, but for me, I know that it wouldn't work. I know that it would actually end up holding me up, and I just get too confused and wouldn't like the threads hanging around, so I don't do that. And I think what I do is called the cross-country method in a way. It's not exactly the cross-country method. I think I'm kind of doing a mixture of something in the middle. So my understanding of when people do Heaven and Earth designs and they say that they're doing cross-country is that they will go all across the pattern wherever it takes them, a bit like you might do with a sewing like the Beauty and the Beast one, where you just think, oh, I'll go over here because there's more of this colour. I'm sticking to, I got Magic Guide DMC, which is a lifesaver. The only annoying thing is I'm doing 2/1. on even weave, and obviously well, a lot of people that do heaven and earth do 2/2, which means that it would work, but on mine, my magic guide grid is only like, it's 2 of the grids on the chart, so I have to remember that. So for every one magic grid, it's like 20 by 20 for me, so I'm getting 2 grids of 10 done, 10 by 10s done from the chart, if that makes sense. So it's a little bit confusing. So what I'm doing is I am working in a gridded system, but I'm not parking. And it seems to be working. There's enough stitching to do in each colour that it doesn't feel like I'm constantly changing. Maybe I'll get to a point where I do decide to give parking a go, but I haven't so far. And it was actually working, but the only thing I'd say is I needed my magnifier and I needed my stand, and it's definitely not something that I could kind of just pick up any time. I need to be in the mood, and I, to be honest, can't really even watch TV while I'm doing it, because it just needs your constant focus, especially when you use a magnifier. But I'm really looking forward to kind of giving it another go. So on to the main surprise and good thing. So thank you so much to everybody that helped me decide on my Mirabilia selection. So I'm really sorry, I should have written down the specific names of people, but I know that there was somebody who I'm so grateful to, so thank you to the person that recommended Cross Stitch Heaven for me. I can't thank you enough, because you're right, it was 39p a skein of thread on there, and it would have been twice that on any other site. And it's easy when it's just 1 or 2 to look at it and think, oh, what's the difference? But actually, if you're ordering something like 50, 60 colours, it makes a huge difference. So I managed to get all of the threads that I'm going to show you for £15. I was quite tactical, and I got the fabric from so-and-so, the chart from so-and-so, but the threads from Cross Stitch Heaven. I did wait about a week and a half for the Cross Stitch Heaven package to arrive, but I'm really pleased with it. I've checked everything, they've sent me the right stuff. I've slightly irritated myself because I realised that the pattern calls for 2 skeins of some of the colours, and I didn't really look at that. I just ordered 1, but I can order some more, that's fine. Yeah, so I'm really grateful. I'm going to use that website again. Really good find. So I've chosen, so I was really keen to just go with what I had the most votes for, because I'm so indecisive, and to be honest, I loved so many of the Mirabilias that I didn't think there was any point me trying to decide forever what one to do. I thought, let's just go with the ones that people suggest. So I kind of tallied up all the votes at a certain point, so you might look through and think, oh, actually that wasn't the one that came out on top. But at the point I decided, right, okay, I'm stopping now and I'm going to order it on the website, this was the winner. So thank you so much, and I'm glad that it's kind of cool to do something that was based around other people deciding, not me. I was very torn. So you made a good choice. The winner is Royal Hugger Day. So I was so pleased when I got this through the post. I was really chuffed. Look at that. Really, I mean, I'm sure that the picture doesn't do them enough justice, but I really liked these packages that they come in. I like the idea that you get the little postcard of the picture, and it's just really nice. Really good quality paper that it's on. I'm really looking forward to it, and it was really exciting when it came through. I really like that you picked a Christmas design for me, because, as I said before, it would be really nice. I very much doubt I would get this finished before this Christmas. I might be wrong. But it's nice to start now working on a Christmas project. So for many people around the world and in the country and everything else, May is a ridiculous time to be thinking about Christmas. But for me, who's obsessed with Christmas anyway and a cross stitcher, it's the perfect time to start thinking about Christmas. There is a small chance in hell that I might get this finished for this Christmas, in which case I'm definitely giving this to my mum, because she loves Christmas and she's behind my love of Christmas. But if I don't get it done, it will be a project that can sit there for the following year, and we'll let it go. I'm so excited, so thank you so much. A very close contender for me personally was Cinderella, but to be honest, I think it was best that I did a Christmas design. That was what I was kind of hoping for in a way. So, and there's time to do Cinderella and other things again. And the other person I wanted to thank is the person that recommended, I think there was 2 people that recommended the Viewer for me, which was the tool, online tool, which helps you to select fabric backings, or select fabrics of different makes, like pole stitches, for example, and compare them to designs of certain cross stitch. You can basically get an idea of, if I chose this dyed fabric, what would it look like behind my cross stitch. And for this design, I've decided to go with the recommended fabric on so and so. But that's not to say that, you know, but if I was, for example, doing Cinderella or Sleeping Princess, I would have probably gone for something a bit more kind of adventurous. So to show you, I love this fabric, and I really don't think it's going to do it justice. It's got a really nice feel to it. This is 32 count Permin linen in chestnut. So I will be doing this, I believe, 2/2. I was quite surprised. Let's maybe, instead of me just showing you this massive section there of material, which doesn't really help, and let me show you a decent size bit. So yeah, I don't think you're going to get this colour very well, which is a real shame. It's really dull on camera, but it's a really kind of sort of chestnut, well, yeah, chestnut kind of colour, and I'm really looking forward to stitching on it. So I'm still trying to get, I don't really understand what Permin linen means and Belfast linen and everything, so I don't really have a clue about all that stuff, but I like this and I'm really looking forward to it. And here, believe it or not, are about 60, well, actually, no, that's a bit of an exaggeration, probably about 50 colours in here. I'm really, really excited. I'm a little bit baffled. I don't know if anybody else has done Royal Holiday, but the colours that I thought, there's no what I would call true reds. They're all, which is fine with me, but they're all kind of pinky and burgundy, which is fine, and I kind of get it. But if you look at the actual pattern, it looks like a very definite red that they use. But the sort of reddy kind of colours in the pack are very much pinky. I've checked and double checked and triple checked these are the right colours, and they are. So maybe it's a case of just seeing how it looks. Some of them don't seem to really match up to the design that well, but I think it's just a case of like photography on the front of the design. Probably, you know, the lighting changes slightly how it looks, and it's probably hard to appreciate how it all comes together before you've done it. So I'm going to trust in it. I'm going to go with it. It was my first Mirabilia, so yeah, I wanted to kind of be sure that that I just went along with the recommended, really, and I'll experiment on other ones. But I'm really, really excited. And I will keep you updated with progress. I don't know, I'm kind of undecided whether I am going to leave it till after Disney Dreams or not, but I don't think I'm going to be able to leave it. I think I'm going to have a go. So what I think I'll do is a bit of a rotation, because I'm literally just working on Beauty and the Beast at the moment. I've kind of, since I did the Lizzie Kate one, really, like since I began that one, I've started being much more like one project at a time kind of person. So I actually think it might be time for me to have a bit of a rotation. So I think what I might do is 1 week on Mirabilia, 1 week on Beauty and the Beast, or 2 weeks of one, 2 weeks of the other. So we'll see how it goes, and it might be very slow progress, but I'll hopefully have something to show you in the next video which will give you an idea of where I am with it. Oh, one thing to say is I didn't get the beads, so a decision I made when we were talking about money in one of the other videos, weren't we? And I have to be, I mean, I've already spent more than I should have done this month on cross stitch, but I did everything I could to not spend as much, and to me, I couldn't justify buying the beads yet, because realistically it could be 6 months till I finish, and I don't know how people normally stitch with Mirabilia, but I'm not planning to add the beads on until the end, because I think because of the way that I store stuff, I don't think that it's going to be very well protected and everything, so I'd rather add the beads right at the end. in which case I didn't see the point in spending loads of money on them, because it was them that really took the price up at the checkout on the website. I didn't see the point in doing that until I'm actually ready to use them, because I've got a couple of things I really need to save for. I've got my friend's wedding abroad coming up in Kefalonia in 2 months' time. I've got another couple of big expenses we're saving for the house still, and I just think, you know, it was a compromise. I got to get the Mirabilia design, but I didn't get to get everything. So I've got all the threads, and that's absolutely fine for me. But I'm just leaving the beads for a while, and I think that's fair enough, really. So the only other thing I wanted to say is that I've been thinking some more about doing stitch alongs. I still haven't really decided. I'm actually quite keen on making up my own theme of one, but I can't think. As I said, I sort of had this idea about joining the Disney Dreams one that was happening, and then I kind of started too early for when it's planned. Mirabilia, I don't know if I want to subject my Mirabilia to a stitch along, because I'm worried that I won't be able to keep up with everybody and it'll be really embarrassing. But maybe I want to think of something quite unique and start my own stitch along, I think. So leave it with me, and maybe over the next few weeks I'll have a good idea. Failing that, I'll join in somebody else's. So I think that's it from me. That's all I've got to show you today. I'm sorry I talked a lot as normal, but I kind of had quite a lot to tell you. So next time, I'll hopefully be able to tell you, if you're not in the UK and you haven't followed it, I'll be able to tell you who won the election, hopefully. And I'll be able to, even if it's like 10 cross stitches, give you an update where I am with the Mirabilia and how I'm finding it and how I'm getting along. Be really interested to hear any thoughts, feedback, comments on anything I've said today. I'm really looking for, I've been watching loads and loads of videos the past week and I've been really enjoying it. So again, really sorry how slow I've been with replying to comments. It's just been, it's always a bit mad, and it's usually, I have to kind of grab the odd evening when I actually have time to myself to make videos. But I do appreciate your comments, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But happy stitching, and see you soon. Bye.